Hi, today I have a message called Here to Help. Here's the short version. Whatever wave of fear seems to arise, big or small, it's just the sense that you are safer separate than joined. The light isn't here to destroy, it's here to help. True power is never destructive. Call upon true power, and you call upon the loving power of creation. There is always insane thought under fear, disturbance, or defense. When you have made something more important or more real than the light, you have made it appear to experience. But just reach toward the light behind it. It has always been here, and it will always help everyone. You experience in alignment with the thoughts you believe, and that is why it is important to observe experience in the thought stage. Okay, there's the short one. So going into it. Whatever wave of fear seems to arise, big or small, it's just the sense that you are safer separate than joined. The awareness we're always joined with everyone and everything, and the ground from which fearful thoughts, defensive thoughts, thoughts of planning defenses, where that arises from is this place we've invented where we can perceive and where we believe that we're not joined, that we're separate. And it seems lately that I have had big waves of fear to encounter and to sort of process and just be with spirit in and see how I'm carried out the other side of it. I have never encountered a wave of fear, no matter how intense, that the result was not my being carried safely to the other side of it. But I do need to know how to focus on spirit and just how to focus and wait. That seems to be what carries me through. And it does get right down to, I believe death is imminent. I believe I'm going to die. And that helps me see how we enact the experience of our death, the physical death. The physical death comes either way because the body's a temporary tool. And either I can give it to my invention of ego to use, or I can give it to spirit to use. If I give it to spirit to use, when the tool isn't useful anymore, it gets just set down gently. And then there's a release from the perceived limitations of that tool, and it's peaceful. If I put my body in the hands of ego to use, then there's going to be a lot more struggle. So, what do I learn every day? To put my body, and even all the bodies I perceive as other, into the hands of spirit, to keep surrendering that, to keep switching back to that place if I've turned away from it. And remember, with spirit in charge, every body is a tool for peace. So whatever wave of fear seems to arise, big or small, it's just the sense that you are safer separate than joined. And when I look at that, it's very simple. I just believe, when I'm fearful, that I'm safer separate than joined. But inevitably, it's putting my focus and attention back on the fact, the immovable and unchangeable fact that we're all joined together, that carries me through to the other side of it. Okay, the light isn't here to destroy, it's here to help. True power is never destructive. Call upon true power, and you call upon the loving power of creation. So, when I'm afraid of a power, something over me. If I think my death is imminent, I think something other than me has power over me, and it's going to get me. It's going to destroy me. So I'm identifying with and as the body, the separate thing, and I'm believing in a power that can destroy. I can always stop to see what I'm believing in, and I can always stop to question my beliefs and to let everything be readjusted so I'm in my right mind. The light isn't here to destroy, it's here to help, and the light is here in everyone. So no one's here to destroy you. Nothing's here to destroy you. The light is in everyone and everything. True power is never destructive. So if I see a past where I believe a power has been acted out and it was a destructive power and it seemed to be acted out through things and people that were not me, or maybe I was one of the persons in the past I perceive and it seemed that destructive power was enacted through me. All of that was the fiction I wanted to see instead of the reality of the shared being. So just recognizing that and coming back to the center, coming back where we're all joined, and putting what we all are together in charge of, well, what happens next? What will I see next? How is all this drawn in and shown to us as a peaceful conclusion? I don't know how, but I can be shown how, and we can all be shown how. Call upon true power, and you call upon the loving power of creation. So last night I found myself at a sort of dead end where I couldn't see my way through and I had to give in to fear instead of seeing my way through in that moment. So I was down here in the basement and I heard probably a Christmas present or package fall to the ground in the other part of the basement, and I immediately was thinking ghosts and spirits. And I can see now how clearly irrational I was being, but I was immediately thinking like a presence that I should be afraid of, and I could not get myself out of that loop. And now here I am in the basement where I refused to stay last night. I just went upstairs. I thought, I'm not going to be able to see my way through this. I just have to go upstairs where I feel safe and just accept for now. I'm too scared down here. But true power is not destructive, and in any moment I can call upon true power. That's clear to me now. It was not clear to me then. And you call upon the loving power of creation. The loving power of creation is behind every surface. I can see that clearly now, but I couldn't last night, and that's okay. There is always insane thought under fear, disturbance, or defense. Yes, when I thought I'm safer upstairs than downstairs in the basement, I literally thought something's going to get me, just like a child. And I believed it, and there we are, there it is. But to have the thought exposed is to see the thought is untrue, nothing was going to get me, and I'm not a body, so when I am spirit, nothing can get. It's just when we're identified with these bodies, sometimes we feel very vulnerable. A lot of the time we feel very vulnerable, and that's why we're defensive. We're trying to defend this separate identity that we think is cut off and vulnerable, when really it's joined with everything, and it's joined with everyone and everything, not in conflict, in peace, in eternal peace. And when I'm able to see this, it makes perfect sense. Everything makes perfect sense. Okay, there's always insane thought under fear, disturbance, or defense. So if I see you over there and it appears you are disturbed, or you are fearful, or you are defensive, I have to look into my own heart and see if I'm being reactive there. Because if I put the problem over into your court and I'm pointing at you and I'm saying that one sure is fearful, I might be missing something. If I look into my own heart, I might be feeling a certain level of discomfort with what I see as a display of fear over there. But can I look through the display of fear that seems to be over there in another one into the heart where the light is, where the light shines? That's the same light that's in my heart. And can I see that sameness, not difference? Can I see that sameness? Because the door is always open for us to see the sameness and just to rest there. It does require a training to be able to look at our thoughts and to be able to do it in the middle of conversation. And for me, that requires training and practice. But hey, that's what time's for. Time's for healing, time's for mind training, time's for remembering who we really are together, and then we don't need time anymore. Time was our plaything, our unnecessary plaything, and when we can see that it was unnecessary, then we can set it down. Okay. When you have made something more important or more real than the light, you have made it appear to experience. Yes, my basement experience. But just reach toward the light behind it. It has always been here, and it will always help everyone. So the helpfulness is always here. Could you have told me that last night? I think you could have, actually. I believe if there had been another person present with me, I could have seen my way through. But from my perspective, I was alone, and I just couldn't shake it. And admitting it is important because we can laugh and start again and have a commitment to look through surfaces toward what's real. So when you have made something more important or more real than the light, then what is the same about everyone and everything regardless of appearance, then you have made that something appear to experience. We're all magicians. Presto changeo, we make our perception appear. But just reach toward the light behind it. So we realize this perception that keeps appearing in front of me seems to be very unstable, and I need stability. Or if I look at someone outside of me and I think that person's really unstable, or that political landscape is really unstable, and what they need or what we need is stability, then it's my responsibility, because I'm the perceiver. I determine what I perceive. So I need to look toward the light behind the surface of instability that I'm projecting. That surface of instability, if I see you as an unstable person, I am projecting that surface of instability. That's my fear I'm perceiving. I need to look past the fear toward the light. And these words are coming through me, so I can be a student and learn from them and apply these lessons. It's not because this separate person knows and is telling you. This separate person's hearing the lesson and has a willingness to apply the lesson. Yeah, but I'm not a separate person. Okay. And if I'm looking at a political landscape, it seems crazy to believe, but we're all the same one, so any eye can say this. As you look at a landscape that seems unstable, I wanted to see instability, so I'm seeing it, but I can prefer to see the sameness behind everyone and everything. And everyone is that powerful. It's just we're learning consistency. We can grasp it for a moment and then go right back into the seemingly more comfortable yet far more fearful setting of wanting to see instability and then seeing instability. And let's say your family in life seems to be the most harmonious ever, right? You're a poster child for I have a harmonious family and home and whatever. And then you look out there at the world and you say, how unfortunate that the world cannot possess the harmony I have in my home. We're fooling ourselves. We see what we want to see, and we project fear outward, and we can either see the fear we're projecting outward, or we can learn to extend love. And that's what we're extending right now. As we learn to extend love, we extend love to everyone and everything, and we don't make any exceptions. And we allow love to extend through everyone and everything we see toward us, because we've always been in charge of our perception, and any one of us can say that. Each one of us is that powerful because we are all this one I together. So we're on the pathway back to learning. We are equally powerful, and if any of us gets this lesson of allowing love to extend fully through what appears to be themselves, and also allowing it to come to them through what appears to be everyone and everything at once, this nightmare is over for all of us. That healing gets accepted and shared immediately with all of us. So we're all working on this together. And every move we make toward focusing on the light helps all of us. Okay, you experience in alignment with the thoughts you believe, and that is why it is important to observe experience in the thought stage. So, we do observe, we're all psychic. We all observe our experiences before they happen, and you can observe this in the thought stage. If you watch your thoughts very carefully, you'll notice that you do observe experiences before they happen. And then when they happen, do you know what we often say? I was right. Like, I was right that things are this way. And we have no idea that we made them that way. We wanted to see them that way because we believed thoughts in alignment with that experience, and we're always seeing what we want to see, whether we're looking in a mirror at the physical body or whether we're looking around our home or our neighborhood or the world. What we see is what we want to see. And when we realize I have rather sloppily projected fear all over the place, we can look through what we projected to the light is here, that is actually here, and allow the light to extend. This is what we're learning now. So you experience in alignment with the thoughts you believe, and that is why it is important to observe experience in the thought stage. So if we go back to my basement experience, many different times I have thought there is a presence in this basement that I don't like, and I have experienced in this basement fearful things, and it's just a reflection of my mind. Where is my mind oriented? It's oriented toward things I don't like, and then I experience things I don't like. This doesn't make everything my fault. It makes my state of mind my responsibility, and it makes my experience my responsibility. There is no fault. Fault doesn't exist. Fault and blame were invented by the ego. We invented the ego to experience a nightmare. If that sounds crazy, it's because it is. We're not in our right minds if we think we're better off stuck within the limits of a nightmare instead of returning home to the unlimited, which we are. So what we're doing here is learning to see through the limits of the nightmare, learning to allow the nightmare to be taken over by the unison and the harmony of what we all are together, instead of trying to individually determine our individual paths seemingly forward. We agree to a harmony of the light within us all to carry us all through and out of our illusion together, recognizing we were freaking crazy, or just enough. I was freaking crazy, but I'm willing to be sane now. I'm willing to look through all the fearful surfaces I projected. I'm willing to see the light. I'm willing to allow that light to be in charge. I'm willing to allow that light to carry all of us through and out of the illusion I made. Now, if you're sitting right next to me, you can say, well, I made the illusion. And I'll say, yeah, you did, because I'm you and you're me. So, yeah, I did. And yeah, I'm crazy. And yeah, I need help. So, if there's war in my world, I need help. I need the light. And I need to look through the surface of that war to see the light. As the light carries me through and out of the illusion I made, I may seem to do helpful things. Maybe I'll give money to someone, maybe I'll give aid to someone, maybe I'll listen to someone, but the place from which that seeming helpfulness is coming is very important. I'm learning this. If I'm trying to provide help from fear and guilt and panic and empathizing with your suffering instead of empathizing with the joy you are behind the suffering, then I'm going to keep replicating my nightmare, and I don't want to do that for you or for me. So I'm not going to try to help you from fear or panic or guilt. I probably will, actually, because it's my habit, but this is the lesson coming through me. So the lesson coming through me instructs Julie, if you're about to try to help from fear, panic, or guilt, stop and help yourself first. Put the oxygen mask on. Empathize with the joy that's always alive in every being. That even includes objects. Empathize with that first And I'm not talking emergency. If we've made an emergency for ourselves, we'll be carried through it somehow. But when you seem to have time to get your thoughts right, when you seem to have time for that, then take that time and come in the spirit of helpfulness from the joy that joins you with everyone and everything. Come from there, because that setting can tell us what to say, and that setting can tell us what to do. So if we're just patient, it's not going to be the first thing that comes to mind. We're used to relying on fear and guilt and panic, so the first thing that comes to mind is going to be from our sense that we're separate, from the ego, and it's going to keep us trapped in our shared nightmare. Yay! But if we're patient and we listen deeply, and we deal with any surface fear, be responsible for our state of mind, then the help we offer can come from the joy that both of us are. Okay, I think that's everything today. Thank you for listening.